Welcome, guys. Today, I want to say one or two things on the topic Introduction to Elements of Grammar. So, Elements of Grammar, or should I say, Introduction to Elements of Grammar, is a course that is offered by year one law students, and I also believe that students in the English department also offer this course. So I just want to pass one or two comments on that particular course. Now, when we speak of introduction to grammar, the very first thing that you should understand at the very outset is that grammar is actually an aspect of English language. Grammar is a component of English language. So when we talk about English grammar does not automatically mean it doesn't automatically mean English language. It's actually an aspect of English language. So when you say introduction to elements of grammar, we are looking at an aspect of English language because that aspect deals with English grammar. So generally, every language has three components, so to say. So language would have a part known as the phonology. Phonology deals with the sound system. So that is where you treat topics like your consonant sounds, your vowel sounds, intonation, stress, and what have you. And then the other part of language would be lexicon. So your lexicon is the part where you deal with the stock of words. So it is the part where you deal with the meaning of words. It is the part where you deal with your leximes and your locutions, so to say. Then the last part of any language would then be the grammar aspect. The last part would be the grammar aspect. So the grammar aspect is the one we are concerned with. So one other thing you should understand about introduction to elements of grammar is that when we speak of grammar in English language, you have to understand that grammar also has two components. It has two components. Grammar has the part that is known as morphology, and it has the part that is known as syntax, so to say. So when we are talking about grammar, we are simply looking at morphology and syntax. The question then is, what is morphology? Now, morphology deals with the formation of words. It deals with the formation of words. How do we form words? So, for example, if I have a word such as necessary, and then I form another word to become unnecessary. So that is what morphology is all about. How we can form words. If I have a word such as book, and then later it becomes books, that is how what morphology is all about. Quick becomes quickly, and otherwise. So that is what morphology is all about, and that is why you understand that as far as language, as far as English grammar is concerned, you see that we say that the basic unit of grammar is actually a morpheme. The basic unit of grammar is actually a morpheme, and when you take time to pour over the examples I cited earlier, you understand that what has just happened was actually affixation. Affixation deals with the formation of new words by the addition of morphemes either at the beginning of the base word or at the end of the base word. So earlier on, I stated something like necessary becoming unnecessary. So by the addition of the un at the beginning of the base word necessary, we have formed a new word. So that is what is known as a prefix. Then I spoke about quick becoming quickly. We've added ly, which is the suffix, which is actually a morpheme. So you see that morphology deals with formation of words, and a morpheme is simply the basic unit of grammar. We see ly, un, they are the basic unit of grammar before you proceed to have words. From words, you can have phrases. From phrases, we can have clauses, and from clauses, we can have sentences. So that is that with morphology. Then the other aspect of grammar is syntax. So when we speak of syntax in English language, syntax is simply talking about the combination of words. It's talking about the combination of words. So while morphology deals with singular words, individual words, how do we form words? Syntax is actually dealing with what? How we combine words. Because you understand that we don't just muddle up our words, or we don't just maroon words together as we fancy. We follow the dictates of grammar to do so. So syntax deals with the grammatical properties, the grammatical behavior of a word within the context or environment of other words. So which means that syntax is saying that a word can be this particular word class in a particular circumstance, should I say grammatical context, then in another grammatical context it may be another word class, because the context have just have changed, so to say. So when you understand this, it gives you a sense in which you should approach the course Introduction to Elements of Grammar. Now, when we speak of elements of grammar, we already understood that it deals with morphology and then syntax and all. So when we're now talking about the elements of grammar, we have been talking about morphemes, we'll be talking about words. So it means that we simply want to be looking at what your word classes. These words, what are the word classes that they fall into? Word classes, also known as your parts of speech. It means that we want to be dealing with what matters relating to sentences, because as I stated earlier, from morpheme we move to to sentence. How do we form or construct sentences, so to say? What are the kinds of sentences that we have? Imperative, sentences, we have declarative, or what are the divisions or classifications of sentences, in the sense that we have simple sentences, compound, complex, multiple, and the likes like that. So when we understand this, at least you understand, or you can anticipate what the fulcrum of the course is all about. Now, most people, or most students rather, will think that anyone is going to ask you to come and define a noun or define a verb or blah 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 and all like that. No, you have to understand that Introduction to Elements of Grammar actually focuses more on the syntactical aspect of it, in the sense that we understand that yes, you have a definition of a noun. You say a noun is the name of any person, animal, place, or thing. A verb is an action word or a doing word and all. And you already have examples in your heads. And once you see a word, you just assume that it is this particular word class. No, because syntax is talking about when you combine words. And this leads me to bring to your attention these two concepts. So when we want to determine the word class of a word, we don't just say that it is this or that. We do so within two particular levels. There is something known as the general level, and there is something known as the language specific or language particular level. So when you talk about the general level, this is what it is all about. The general level is actually what we do by defining a particular word class, a noun to be a name of any person, animal, place, of things, and we start giving examples: boy, girl, ade, femi, and the likes like that. A verb is an action word or a doing word, it's like a kick, dance, and the likes like that. That is what is known as trying to identify the word class of a word using the general level. The general level is simply looking at it in this particular way. It says that take a word, take this particular word, then look at this word, and then you ask yourself, this word, in what form does it actually exist quite often? If this word exists as a noun quite often, then it is basically generally seen as a noun. So that is why you find that words such as boy, words such as man, they are basically seen as nouns. So that is at the general level, because you understand that most times they exist as nouns. But at the language particular level now deals with context. Stop taking a word in isolation. Yes, we understand that this word generally exhibits this grammatical behavior, but we are saying that we want to start examining each word in each grammatical construction and grammatical context. So, for example, the word man, yes, we know that the word man generally is a noun, but the question is whether it has been used as a noun in a particular word grammatical construction. Because if you have a statement such as a manned the gate or he mans the gate, of course you understand that in that particular context the word man is not has not been used as a noun. Now it has been used as a verb. So this is what language particular is all about. For example, I stated something and I cited the example of book turning to booked. Now, of course, we all know that books are names of things and they are generally regarded as nouns. But what about if you have something like he booked a session with his therapist? He booked a session with his therapist. Of course, you cannot see that in that context that the word book is a noun. Now it has changed to what, to a verb. Or should I perhaps I should just bring to your notice this popular example that I use, the word present, which can also be present. So of course, if you say something as you presented the gift to the winner, of course we understand that in that particular circumstance the word present is actually a verb because it's an action word. And also, what about if you have something like he was awarded the present, or he got the present or blah 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 and the likes like that. Of course, in that particular circumstance, we are talking about the name of what he got, which is the present, right? So it means that it has been used as what, as a noun in this circumstance. Or if you have something like it was present at the meeting, somebody was present at the meeting. So this question is, have you also used this in a particular? Have you used it as a noun? Of course not. So you see that words can be used, that is, a particular word can be used or can exist or show different grammatical characteristics. And so what we are saying is that at the language particular level, you focus on the grammatical characteristics to determine the word class of a noun. So as a student offering the course Introduction to Elements of Grammar, your concern should be about understanding the language particular levels of words. So for example, if you have something like a word such as he walked around the building, he walked around the building, and you have another one like the soldiers rounded up the rebels, the soldiers rounded up the rebels. So the fourth expression, he walked around the building, he walked around. The question is, what is the word class or part of speech of the word round? Now, round is telling us where he walked, right? He walked, but we could have. No, it's not telling us where he walked. So, since it is telling us more about the verb, then it's an adverb. It's an adverb of walk, of place, telling us where he walked. But look at the other expression when they said they rounded up, the soldiers rounded up the rebels. Of course, you know that they carried out an action, rounding up the rebels. So they packed all of them, marooned them together, and all. So that is a verb. May I also point out that there's a difference between rounding up and then rounding off, so to say. To round off means to conclude. This also shows you how a word being used as a phrasal verb. Do you understand? And then that same word can be used in as other grammatical names, so to say. So when you understand this, then it gives you a sense in the approach that you should take when you want to attempt questions on elements of grammar. And that is all that I have for you for today. My name has not changed, but I remain Yusuf Oluwafemi Salako. Stay jiggy. Thank you.